Today we're going to be watching Naruto versus Boruto Who Will Win by SethTheProgrammer. And this was recommended to me in the comments. And if you got any video recommendations for me, put them in the comments below. I'll take a look at them and I'll do them if I like them. So let's go ahead and get it started. Pre-video predictions. My money's on Naruto, of course. I mean, he has the nine-tailed fox. If we're going, I'm imagining Kid Naruto versus, Kid Boruto. Kid Naruto, he has the nine-tailed fox, healing ability. He can use the nine-tailed fox chakra to do a whole bunch of shadow clones. He can get injured or become enraged, and he can do the cloak. He has the Nine Tails cloak, and he got the rasengan. Boruto, he has a regular small. Well, he has a small rasengan, and he has a invisible rasengan that he can throw. So he got a projectile. What else do he got? He got gentle fist because he's half Hyuga clan. So he got gentle fist. He could stop your chakra, but we already know that Naruto fought Neji, had all his chakra points hit and closed up, and he could still burst through it using the nine-tailed fox chakra. So that X's out gentle fist for Boruto. That's basically nothing. What else? He knows wind style. Well, they're both wind style users. Even though Kid Naruto can't use any wind abilities yet. But besides that, Boruto can only do 4 shadow clones. Naruto, in the first chapter of the manga, he produced 1,000. So, I mean, just off numbers alone. And then you got the healing factor, where even if you do damage him, he gonna heal himself back. Then he got all that chakra. Then he got 1,000 clones that he can drop on you. And they all can do rasengan. I mean, it ain't looking too good for your boy. But that's who I got. I got Naruto. Let's see what Seth got to say. I'm gonna be doing a whole bunch of Seth and Swag and Six. I'm gonna check out Six too. We're gonna go through all this stuff. I've seen a lot of Swag Kage's content already, but I'm definitely gonna go through and see the videos that I haven't watched yet, and go through those and react to them. Same thing for Seth. I saw a lot of Seth's videos, but not all of them. So I'm gonna go through, check out the ones I haven't seen yet, just because those two people have been around for longer. But Six, he's a newer person, so I've only seen like 3 or 4 of his videos. So we're gonna go through all that stuff. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of Naruto videos, man. Oh, I forgot to switch over.
Money making season and being broke is treason.
I forgot to switch it so y'all can see it. Don't worry, ain't nothing happened yet. He was just introducing the characters. Here, I can even go back to him. He ain't say nothing yet. He's still doing an intro. But I ain't even switch over so y'all can hear this, man.
Today's video will be on Naruto versus Boruto. So this is actually a topic that has been requested for a long time. The last time I talked about it was, in 2017? And yeah, I think Swag Kage and I were just like, well, Naruto would summon Giant Frog and it would stomp on him or something. So that might not be the case anymore. Even the Naruto fans may agree that, yeah, maybe Boruto is somewhat overpowered now.
I don't watch Boruto, but if there's some stuff that's gonna make me think that he can win this, I want to hear about it.
So hopefully we can actually have a conversation about it. And without further ado, why don't you just start us off?
So with Momoshiki, right, this differs between both anime and manga. I mean, they're separate continuities. The author sort of describes it like what's going on with Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah, but they're both still canon.
Yeah, they're both Momoshiki eat these chakra pills that he gets from B. And he actually takes the maximum amount of chakra that he can from B, at least without killing him, right? So he takes 5, and he says that these pills are just pure power. Right? Like that's sort of the whole idea.
Little Zans,
Momoshiki
okay.
Versus Naruto.
You got some perks.
Momoshiki's a cheater. He likes to get his power through pills and things like that. Naruto's sort of like the hardworking guy. He doesn't believe what Momoshiki's doing is true power. Tails level threat.
In the anime, this is somewhat diluted because obviously in the anime he has more of his Jogan Super Otsutsuki Eye ability.
I still don't know what that thing do.
Makes things a little bit more confusing, but in the manga he actually just doesn't use that. So
yeah, just
it's a little bit more confusing. Now, one thing I will say about these chakra pills that Momoshiki eats is that it's very confusing. So, for one, we have Momoshiki. He gets shot by an 8-Tails Bijou bomb. And he's like, you know what? Why don't I just direct it with twice the force back at you? This is in the anime from what I remember. But why don't I just direct it back at you twice the force and then blast the 8-Tails on some like Mewtwo from the first Pokemon movie. He's using like Reflect and just bounces it back at him and basically kills him. And then Momoshiki absorbs his energy and he's like, is that it? Only 5 pills? I guess he was trash. And then gets the pill, puts the pills in his space pocket or wherever he put them. We don't know. But it's weird because he felt the 8-Tails blast him with this Bijou bomb. He directs it back and he's like, that's all he gave me. And then from what we learn is that the 8-Tails and Killer Bee may have given Momoshiki the slip entirely, which is why he only got 5 pills out of it. Something that also somewhat backs this up is that one-tailed Naruto in the anime, at least in the time travel arc, Urashiki is trying to extract the 9 tails from him, and he throws a fishing rod into his aura, and it basically just bounces off. But even that, it's enough to get 1 pill out of him. So are you telling me that little fart of chakra he ripped off from one-tailed Kid Naruto is 1/5 of Killer Bee and the 8-Tails put together in Boruto?
Oh, man.
Probably a bit unlikely, but if you do say he's above 8-Tails level when Boruto is giving him the hands, then, I mean, we don't need to discuss any further. You know, Naruto just gets absolutely curb stomped. But that's an alternative interpretation. However, the anime actually gets even crazier with the scaling entirely, in which, in the anime, there is a arc where the Tsuchikage is basically having to fight against a group called Ku, where Anoki...
The Tsuchikage, that was the one with the old Kage was the old man, right? Old man who could fly around and do particle style. That's the Tsuchikage, isn't it? I'm trying to remember all the Kages. I think that was the one. Or the old man with the Tsuchikage before that.
In the anime, there is a arc where the Tsuchikage is basically having to fight against a group called Ku, where Anoki made these Otsutsuki slaying...
This nigga ugly as fuck. Oh, he is ugly. Oh my goodness, man. Look at his chest. Why your heart out? Man, he really wearing his heart on his sleeve. This is nasty. Get him off my screen. Get him off the screen. Why did I go back?
Anoki made these Otsutsuki
Why did I go backwards?
super clones of himself.
Literally clones to fight Kaguya level threats.
Yes.
He made these clones for. So Kurosuchi runs into one of them, right? Or not one of them. He runs into the main one, the big guy, Ku. Yeah. They're in the village, and she uses like nin taijutsu rock fist to try to combat him, and he's just clapping her.
He blocks it without. Dude, he blocks it without flinching.
Yeah,
like how absurd is that?
The sword doesn't even move. Like the shit she hit Kinshiki with, where she like punched him and he like flew through the god tree and like bounced around till Sasuke hit him. He just no sells it. He doesn't even flinch.
And what's crazy about this, you know, a lot of people would be like, oh, well, Kinshiki was off guard. He's getting jumped. But, dude, Kinshiki watched her pull up in front of him. There's a few seconds while she winds up a punch, and then he gets hit, and then he gets launched away. And then while he gets hit by Chojiro's,
he definitely wasn't off guard.
needle technique. I forgot the exact name. He gets hit by Chojiro's technique, and then he's like, that hurts. But he doesn't scream in pain until Kurotsuchi starts hitting him with her sublime lime jutsu, like the ceiling jutsu. Then he starts groaning in pain from her jutsu and wrapping around him. By the way, Chojiro is complete garbage in this anime, but we'll get into that in a minute. But basically, Kurotsuchi's lime jutsu or whatever is able to suppress him and make him groan in pain. Yet here's that same girl throwing probably a stronger attack at Ku. And not only is it probably a stronger attack, but this is post Kinshiki, and it's implied all of the Kage are like on guard, training, trying to be ready for Otsutsuki threats. So if anything, she might be stronger than ever before, using a stronger technique, and Ku just tanks it. And then here's Team 7 bullying him.
Bodying Ku. So
literally bullying him.
When you put it like that, it makes that mean that they're Atsuki. How do you even say their name? Atsuki. Asuski? Is that what he wasn't saying? Asuski? Atatsuki? Akatsuki? Odasuko. Whatever. However you say their last name, man. The Oats, man. The Kage and all them, last name Oats. I'm just gonna call their last name Oats. Cause I ain't got time for all that. So basically, Boruto is fighting somebody who scales to them. And he's still a Genin. That's interesting. I don't know if he's doing that, then Kid Naruto. But Kid Naruto still got the numbers on his side. So let's see if he can change out. He still got 1,000 to his 4. He can still overwhelm him with Rasengans.
Team 7 bullying him.
Bodying Ku. So
literally bullying him.
There is a few counter arguments I've heard where people are like, oh, well, maybe Kurotsuchi's not trying on Ku because they're in the middle of the village or whatever. I find this somewhat unlikely considering the people she's talking to. They literally are a threat to the village, and she uses a stronger method of force, which she used in Otsutsuki outside of the
right,
village, inside. So I don't think that's a valid counter argument.
Yeah. The other weird one too is obviously you have Chojiro fighting the 7 new swordsmen or whatever, and they're able to actually damage him with threads or something while he doesn't have his sword. Sure, he's at 50% power, but then you have pretty much a really garbage tier Team 7 and Sarada kind of fighting these 7 swordsmen, kind of showing that they're actually encroaching on Kage level.
Which
something
is
else
insane.
Something else that sort of supports this, even in the Ku arc, is that
how strong was those 7 swordsmen? Was those 7 swordsmen some real tough dudes, or were they? I don't know. How did the 7 swordsmen compare to everybody else? How strong were they? If they was fighting them like that with ease. Damn, so how strong is Boruto and Sarada in them? And oh boy, him right here. If 7 swordsmen was coming close to Kage level, then damn, they all went almost Kage level already? Boruto and them? Can't be. Or maybe they is. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Maybe they is. That's wild if they is, though.
Something else that sort of supports this, even in the Ku arc, is that from what I remember, a lot of Jonin are actually sent to the Sand Village to come and help it, and these Jonin are taken out by Ku's underlings. Yet Boruto and gang are able to handle it, implying that Boruto and gang are above the Jonin who went. Now, you can say this is, inconsistent or whatever, but I'm going to be real with you. I just think it's the writers of these fillers don't know what they're
don't know what they're talking about.
They don't know what they're on about. But that regardless, it's something, in the anime, it happened. You know what I mean? It's just something that happened. And what gets even worse is we get a literal time travel arc, and that's what makes this video even more relevant than ever before.
It makes it easier too.
We see Boruto next to Part 1 Kid Naruto, and it's not any part.
But that's not canon, is it? I don't think this stuff is canon. Because for this to be canon, the power scaling for Kid Naruto goes out the roof. He was fighting Oats. He was fighting the Oats as a kid, but then had trouble with Neji. Like, that don't make sense. That just throws the power scaling everywhere.
Naruto, but he's stronger than any iteration of him in the manga because this is post Sasuke retrieval. Yeah. So this is him stronger than we've ever seen him in part 1.
This Naruto arguably has better chakra control than even like Naruto later in the series, like with Sage Mode, right? So that might sound wild. I know. I'll explain though.
It's another 7 theory.
When Naruto enters this like one-tailed QB form, he's able to form Rasengan without using 2 hands. He can actually do it using 1 hand. But then
that was like some of the first times.
Naruto still says to B that he can't form Rasengan using 1 hand. He still needs shadow clones. So that's just a way to say like this Naruto just has like supreme chakra control. And
it also might be because of Boruto. It might also be because of Boruto helping him out and helping him calm down. And honestly, that whole time travel arc, in my personal opinion, it should have been more of a movie or something, like some kind of canon movie.
Yeah.
But it's in the anime. Now, something interesting is that a lot of people seem to think that the time travel arc is not canon.
It's not. It's not, right?
Take that as you will. I don't know where the evidence for that is from, but if it is, that's great. But if it is canon and it's valid for this discussion, we kind of have a lot to talk about. Because
if it is canon, like I said, that throws a lot of things in a whack. Because, yeah, that makes everybody extremely more powerful. It messes up a lot of stuff if it is canon. I always thought it wasn't.
But if it,
I always thought it was just filler. Like, it was always just treated like filler. I hope it is.
I don't know where the evidence for that is from, but if it is, that's great. But if it is canon and it's valid for this discussion, we kind of have a lot to talk about because we get introduced to Urashiki, and Urashiki in all basically everything that talks about him, any extra material that talks about him, it says that he is revered being honored, praised, or respected as the strongest of his clan being the Otsutsuki clan. And it might actually be consistent when you figure out that he might actually have better feats than base Kinshiki and base Momoshiki, because from what we know, base Kinshiki and Momoshiki, they're struggling with the Kage or whatever. They struggle with 2-on-1s. For instance, you have Darui and Gaara. They're kind of giving base Momoshiki a hard time, and Kinshikis just can kind of bully it around. But Urashiki faces against Sasuke, who just came from another dimension. He just transported out with his Renegon, against Gaara, and it's actually stated verbatim in these extra materials that Sasuke and Gaara cannot defeat Urashiki at all.
Really?
So,
he's fought Gaara twice. Both times Gaara's had a teammate. First time it was Chojuro.
I mean, Gaara, okay.
Sasuke.
But Sasuke?
He's gotten away from Gaara.
I understand Gaara not being able to beat him. I mean, I know they Kage, but Kages have never been on that level. Kages wasn't even on Madara's level, let alone to be on Kaguya, and then to be on these Oats people. Like, they was never on that level. So Gaara, I understand him losing. But Sasuke is surprising. Sasuke is supposed to be rivaling all of them.
First time it was Chojuro. Second time was Sasuke. He's gotten away from Gaara both times. So, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty consistent thing for Urashiki to be over Gaara at least.
Yes. And what's even crazier is that it's implied that Boruto and Shinji stand a chance against Urashiki when Gaara and Sasuke didn't. So, it's like, now for Sasuke, you can say, oh, well,
how is that
Sasuke's
possible?
Suppressed or whatever, but Gaara, he's at full power, and he's taken punches from Fusion Momoshiki in both the manga and the anime, and you have Boruto and his friend are taking down Urashiki, and then
is that a little one-tailed fox on his shoulder? I missed a lot because why is there a baby one-tails on his shoulder? The last episode I've seen in Boruto, these two people was fighting in the tuning exams. So yeah, I missed a lot. Cause how was he there? And why is he in the teapot? And what's going on? I'm so confused. I'm really stuck on this little baby. That's what it really is. Why is you in the teapot, man? All right, let's go back.
And you have Boruto and, his friend are taking down Urashiki, and then in the time skip or the time travel arc, they go back in time, and Urashiki he gets stronger. He uses his Renegon powers. He gets his Tomo Renegon, and then he gets a blue Renegon on top of that. Now, you might be able to argue that Jiraiya poisoned him at certain points, but even then, you have situations where Urashiki is clearly taking Kirin from Sasuke.
What does the blue Renegon do?
Okay, or avoiding Amaterasu on Sasuke's sword. Do you think that Part 1 Naruto could ever take on an opponent that could take Kirin? Well, apparently in this time travel arc, he can.
They just obliterate. Like, Kirin hits him, it doesn't kill him. Then double Rasengan hits him, and he's just gone. Like, no karma, nothing. He's out of there.
From double Rasengan, but Kirin don't do nothing?
Applies, right? When he's trying to evolve, right? That's what Otsutsuki do. They try to evolve through, like, obtaining chakra and chakra fruits. He even implies that the amount of chakra he took from Sasuke, which was enough to, like, put Sasuke out of commission for a whole arc, bring him back down to Part 1 level. He implies that that's not enough, and that's why he eats his blue Renegon to evolve.
Yeah. So you have Shinki and Boruto, they're stronger than Gaara and nerf Sasuke. Then you have Naruto
crazy
from
statements.
Part 1 and Boruto working together.
Stronger than Sasuke.
Now, something that makes this crazy, though, is that I've heard some people say that in this time travel arc that this Naruto is stronger than normal or something, so it might be some alternate timeline Naruto, which is why he's so strong, which would make Boruto stomp pretty objectively. However, if we do say that they are, like, somewhat relative, you can say they combined their Rasengans and they use a perfect combination attack, which it was implied they were doing. To use a perfect combination attack, you kind of have to have matching chakra, which is implied with Naruto and Sasuke in the war when they're using the
Rasen Shuriken.
I definitely remember that.
Yeah, Amaterasu, Inferno, Rasen Shuriken, Tempest, Ultra Style, whatever.
Sasuke literally just says he's matching Naruto's chakra levels.
Yeah, whatever Minato named that technique, I don't know. But regardless, so if you imply that, then Boruto matched his chakra level, and then obviously Boruto just gets stronger as time goes on. The other thing, too, is that even while somewhat off guard and not trying to mess with Naruto, and Naruto's in his one-tailed cloak and going kind of feral, Boruto's actually able to react to his slashes. Now, while Naruto's able to cut him, base Boruto is still actually reacting to these slashes, so...
That's crazy, because Sasuke couldn't react to it until he got his Sharingan, and that's the only way he was able to even see some of his attacks. So the fact that he was reacting to it is crazy. And then got hit by it and got back up. That's some crazy feats right there.
Base Boruto is still actually reacting to these slashes, so it implies there's some level of relativity that may justify the Rasengan clashing with Naruto's. Another thing that makes Boruto combining his Rasengan with one-tail Naruto so convincing as well is that, as we know, Boruto with them, and he has abnormally powerful Rasengans because they're almost like his own weird version of Rasen Shuriken instead, which is, so...
He combines the chakra. Naruto does the same thing, except they just don't call it the high compression Rasengan. So Naruto gets, like, wind release on top of his Rasengan, but then he takes it a step further to make a new jutsu. That's the Rasen Shuriken. Boruto just doesn't take that last step, and he just keeps the high compression Rasengan.
Yeah. So from there, we obviously know in the manga that while getting goaded by Code into doing it, Boruto is able to use basically over 80% of his downloaded Momoshiki data as a karma power-up at will and activate his Byakugan. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you guys. There's just no way that Naruto at all can take this Boruto. If Boruto is at all using this karma, and this karma is at all even like a decent or somewhat percentage of the real Momoshiki, even the base.
So I'm trying to understand his powers as they talk. So with his eye activated or whatever, he got the powers of Momoshiki? And he can use 80% of Momoshiki's power? That's broke. It's not even a fight then if he's basically Momoshiki. Kid Naruto can't fight that. So yeah, he'll win. If he got that power.
Can take this Boruto. If Boruto is at all using this karma, and this karma is at all even like a decent or somewhat percentage of the real Momoshiki, even the base one, it just doesn't make sense for Naruto to stand a chance unless for some reason you think that the time skip or the time travel arc of Naruto is how strong you'd be, like an actual canon or something. So it just doesn't really make a lot of sense for Naruto to even compete. Even in the original, as we said, you know, Boruto's already kind of reacting to One Tails, let alone this karma mark. Now, something else that also, even without this, you know, say, oh, well, that's just a BS, you know, Karma, Otsutsuki, you know, Gary Stu power-up. Even then, Team 7 does fight Boro. All right, and Boro, he's no joke. Like,
Kara Inners are supposed to be like these Otsutsuki level powered up beings.
Yes, and one thing about Boro specifically,
these little fake Akatsuki, boy.
You know, Code thought that he and Boro were greater than Delta, and that they might need to handle Naruto if Delta couldn't. Now, you could just say that this is because Boro has, you know, regeneration and like virus hacks or some weird things. However, it just kind of goes to show that Boro, even at all being relevant in a fight that Delta couldn't handle, is pretty astronomical of a statement. So if someone was just able to beat Delta and Boro was just an ant in comparison and was just infinitesimally weaker and he couldn't even like perceive the fighter who beat Delta, it's pretty weird to say that, yeah, you'll just deal with it when you can't. So Team 7 beating Boro, who's like this Otsutsuki,
how is that created? How are they doing this?
Inner of Kara. It's really just
the Oats family, the Oats clan, is above the Kages. No, they're above Kage, who are above the Kages, who, like, bro, who are above Jonins, who are above Shunins, who are above Genins. They are Genins. How are they fighting Oats family level people? They just skipped the whole Kage level. They ain't even, it wasn't even like a ramp up. It was just skip. They just skipped it. How do y'all skip going past Chunin, Jonin level? Skip Kage level. Skip Kaguya level. Went straight to Oats. Straight to Oats family level. Like, dang.
It's above anything Part 1 Naruto's ever dreamed of, unfortunately. But
yeah, if you want to take it like a step further, Kawaki says that in some ways, Boro's even worse than Jigen. So
yeah, and Team 7 deals with them. Now, obviously, you know, Boruto doesn't solo Boro or whatever, but he's still relevant in the fight. And I believe when Boro is rampaging, he actually hits a few of the team members, and they actually survive hits from him.
Yeah, they get knocked out, and they're all
his durability is crazy.
Yeah, which once again, even them surviving a hit from him is just more insane.
And Sarada's just blatantly faster than him. Like when Sarada's got her Sharingan on, in the anime is 2 Tomo, manga 3, doesn't matter. She's just saying Boro's not that fast compared to her. Like, she can get out of the way of all of his hits, and Boro only ever hits Sarada whenever Sarada's acting weak in order for the plan to go through. And then obviously she pulls out Chidori and he just gets destroyed. So
what are some pro Naruto Part 1 arguments? Are there any pro Naruto arguments at this point? Because I feel like after the time skip or the time travel,
I mean, when they fight no Otsutsuki level people, man, ain't no more arguments, man. I mean, he could still probably do the 1,000 clone thing, but maybe you can hope and pray that that'll work. But they fighting Otsutsukis, bro. So I mean, it's nothing.
Arguments. Are there any pro Naruto arguments at this point? Because I feel like after the time skip or the time travel arc, there just isn't any. There's just no way.
Arc, it's just like Boruto spanking, really.
Yeah, and not to disrespect Naruto, part 1. I like Naruto part 1 more than Boruto, for what it's worth. And back in the day, we did say Naruto wins based on the information we had, but due to these updates, there's just absolutely no way he can take on a Notsutsuki programmed Boruto. And maybe at best, he might be able to fight base Boruto. However, base Boruto, even taking in a hit from amped Boro, is just beyond anything part 1. Hey, if you can point out anything part 1 Naruto has ever done that's that level, go ahead. And the only thing you're going to be able to point out is literally Boruto, like, filler, where he's back in time with Boruto, and Boruto and him are both fighting Urashiki. And for some reason, Naruto with one tail is stronger than Jiraiya and base Sasuke, despite the fact that Jiraiya could take hits from four-tailed Naruto, let alone one-tailed Naruto. And like Six said, this Naruto, even in the past, may have been amped by Boruto saying, dad or whatever, which let him create this Rasengan over his head without any hands, which he's never done anywhere else in part 1. Even when he was fighting Sasuke, he still used one hand to create his Vermilion Rasengan. Wasn't nearly as big or powerful, but Boruto reaching out to him does. So he might have been amped as well.
Jiraiya's Rasengan, bruises Urashiki's, cloak. But then the combination of these two erases him. It's just clear. It's just such weird scaling to take the arc.
Yeah, that scaling is all off.
Canon to the original material.
Right. It creates kind of a loop, and everyone in the community has talked about
Jiraiya dirty his shirt, but
it's so weird.
Those two can
so many connotations.
Straight kill him.
They went to a different timeline, or it's just campy canon. It's so weird. But even then, it doesn't make a lot of sense because we've seen Orochimaru, while weaker than he was in part 1, fight four-tailed Naruto. And Orochimaru in part 1, while stronger, is apparently relative to Jiraiya, like base Jiraiya, who can also fight four-tailed Naruto and survive. So one-tailed Naruto being godly stronger than Urashiki and Jiraiya just doesn't really make a lot of sense, unless Urashiki is just
it doesn't,
and Jiraiya is as well, or Urashiki's poisoned and weakened. But anyways, you guys get the idea. I don't want to rant about why Boruto beats Naruto. It kind of gives me a sick taste in my stomach. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe if you did. Also, be sure to check out Six's channel. Thank you very much for coming on, and I hope you guys learned something. And other than that, till next time. Hello, everyone.
All right, so that was Naruto versus Boruto by SethTheProgrammer, and Six was in there too. So turns out my predictions was wrong. Kid Boruto stomps. He stomps the universe, basically. The Oats family, the Oats clan, he's as powerful as them, apparently. So he crushes the whole Naruto universe. There's really nobody on that planet in the Naruto universe besides the Kage who can even put up a fight against him, because he's Oats clan level. Yeah, y'all, if y'all like this video, leave a like. If you dislike, leave a dislike. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this video. Any more recommendations? Like I said, I'm gonna be going over SethTheProgrammer and Swag Hage videos that I haven't seen yet. And I'll be going through Six's channel and see what he got. I know he's a relatively newer YouTuber, so I definitely haven't seen all his stuff yet. But yeah, y'all, that's it for me. I'll see y'all in the next one.